Chapter 31-31. Legend of the Dragon Tamer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Place where it all began, my ass. Sam spoke in ridicule. This is just a museum. You don't have patience, Rebecca replied calmly with a casual shrug. If it weren't for that, you might have actually succeeded in keeping me captured. Currently, the odd duo of the villain and a hero's daughter were standing in front of a museum building. The name National Heroes Museum was being displayed on a holographic billboard of the building. The museum was one of the main tourist attractions of the Academy City. Relics used by heroes, their equipment, and the belongings of some famous late heroes. Everything present here made a perfect spot for tourists to visit. Although that may be the case, however, because it was the start of school season and only students were allowed to stay in the city during this time, there was not a single person in sight in front of the museum. However, what confused Sam was the reason why the blonde-haired girl took him here. When she dramatically claimed that they were going to the place where it all started, he didn't know what to expect or even what to make of that statement. But after reaching here, he couldn't help but narrow his eyes in slight disappointment. No, really, why are we here? Let's just go inside first, yeah. Rebecca replied and casually walked up to the main entrance gate. The building was in the shape of a big dome. The entrance was one round giant gate guarded by two sentry-class heroes dressed in light blue police-like uniforms. Upon walking in front of the gate, the female guard performed a mandatory inspection on Rebecca before nodding and letting her pass through the gate. Sam heaved a sigh and moved his feet to follow her inside. The male guard came forward to perform an inspection as soon as Sam closed in on the gate. However, before the guard could execute duty, Sam's eyes glowed with a shade of purple hue as he spoke in a cold voice. No need, he said and kept walking. The male guard stepped back as if it was a normal thing to do, but the female frowned and called out to Sam before he could enter. Hey! Sam turned his head to look at the source of the voice before opening his mouth. I said, no need. The female guard quivered after hearing the black-haired boy speak and nodded her head like an obedient dog. As soon as Sam stepped on the mat in front of the door, the round gate opened automatically and a gust of cold air-conditioned air greeted his face. Welcome, a female staff member situated by the entrance greeted with a sweet smile plastered on her face. Sam nodded and kept walking till where Rebecca was standing in front of a relic being displayed. What's this? Sam asked, arriving at her side. No idea, looks like a sex toy though. Rebecca shrugged. Sam only sighed in response. Listen, love, as much as I would like to spend our day off with you, I don't think you are worthy. So just tell me why we are here in this godforsaken place so I can get the fuck out of here. Ha ha ha, Rebecca facepalmed as she laughed lightly at Sam's comment. You say that as if you have a choice, she said. You don't have a choice but to follow me. As strong as you are, even you should know you won't be able to take down my father even with that troublesome ability of yours. Yeah, and you said you will tell me something today, that's why I showed up. Sam replied in a slightly raised voice, clearly frustrated. And I will, Rebecca assured. Just let me get to that. Sam let out a deep breath before speaking. Fine, you have your time now, speak. Rebecca rolled her, the act she was putting on was cracking. It took her all her willpower to not attack the black-haired boy in front of her. However, she quickly calmed herself down and spoke in an amusing tone. How much do you know about Drackle, the legendary hero? Sam was baffled for a second. Why is she asking that? He thought. When the abilities started appearing in this world, humans weren't the only ones who were graced with them. Objects and animals gained abilities too. Objects were a rare case, but an object with ability is called a relic. Animals, much like objects, gained abilities too. They came to be known as beasts. During the Dark Ages, beasts were the main strength of Progenitor's army. He not only possessed the ability to control them but also to create them. Beasts in today's society are a rare occurrence. Humanity has already hunted down the species to the point of extinction. Only a few numbers of beast species are farmed for resources in today's society. However, once they were a threat. And among them, a species that humans dubbed dragons was the biggest threat of them all. Dragons were the evolutionary result of reptiles. They were indeed the same as dragons from the fantasies. Massive bodies, armored scales, giant wings, and fiery breath. They were the personification of destruction. And they were also the only species that the progenitor wasn't able to control. They only had one master, and that was Drakul Dragonheart. The legend of Drakul Dragonheart is widely known. There's not a single person who doesn't know about the Tamer of Dragons. The boy was born without an ability himself. The time was of war and misery. The ongoing war between heroes and the progenitor took the lives of countless. The world was cruel back then, more so than ever. In that cruel world, Drakul Westria was born from the corpse of his dead mother. His father sold him when he turned 8. He ran from his master but was later recruited into the military to fight in the war when he turned 16. He gained friends in the military but lost them all in front of his eyes in the war. And just when he was about to lose his life too, he, for the first time in his life, shed tears. He cried. And can you blame him? After living such a mournful life, anyone would cry in their last moments. However, even though he cried, he did not buckle up or back down. The boy only clenched his relic sword tighter in his hands and rushed the demon standing in front of him. With tears rolling down his cheeks, the boy cried out loud what he thought would be his last battle cry. He was ready to die, he would die avenging his friends, he thought. However, he was too weak. Before the boy could even come closer to the Demon King, the latter spoke in a cold authoritative voice. Kneel. Drakul stopped his charge and his body instinctively kneeled. He could only see as the progenitor closed in on him with an amused smile. Just when he thought he would die, a ray of hope shone on him. No, it was not Star Super or any other hero. It was a dragon. A dragon came descending from the skies as if to judge all the sinners of the world. The dragon unleashed its breath on the progenitor and saved the 16-year-old boy. Only then did the world and the boy himself came to know about his ability. It was to tame dragons. He was the first person to ever fend off progenitor in history after Star Super. When he started taming more dragons, the boy gained another ability. An ability that granted him full authority over the fire and its nature. He later became a valuable ally and ultimately helped Star Super defeat the Demon King. He was the first of the Dragonhearts. A heroic man who created a legendary family that would go down in history. His ancestor possesses a unique pyrokinetic ability along with the dragon taming trait. Abilities can't be passed down. That's the general knowledge in this world. However, there are exceptions to this rule. Dragonhearts are one of them. They can pass their ability genetically. Thus every member belonging to their family possesses the same ability. However, in today's world, dragons have gone extinct. It's been a generation since the last dragon died. Everything that's been covered in books and movies about him, Sam answered with a shrug before questioning, why? Because, Rebecca said and took a pause with a wide grin on her face. What if I say, his dead body is here? Information available on Dragons. Dragons are reptile-like legendary creatures. They evolved from reptiles and gained intelligence. They were by far the strongest creatures to ever walk the face of the planet. Strong enough to even fend off the progenitor. Dragon taming, the ability to tame dragons. This could be the variation of beast taming, although not much is known about this ability. Pyrokinesis, users can create, shape, control, generate and manipulate every form/type of fire, the rapid oxidation of a material in the exothermic chemical process of combustion, releasing heat, light, and various reaction products, flame being the visible portion of the fire. Depending on the substances alight, and any impurities outside, the color of the flame and the fire's intensity will be different. The user can also completely control the temperature of the fire at will. Chapter 32. Unraveling Secrets. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. What if I tell you, his dead body is here? With a calm smile plastered on her face, Rebecca stated. She snapped and a sound barrier appeared around them, preventing the sound inside to escape. Neat trick, reminds me of Kiera, the voice in Sam's mind commented. I'm sorry, what? Sam frowned in half ridicule and half disbelief. How can the body of the legendary dragon tamer be in a place like this? This is just a museum. Is this girl crazy? Thoughts like that flooded Sam's mind. He was right in his assessment too. Why would the dead body of such a legendary figure be here? And even if it is here, why tell him about it? What's the point? The body would already have been decayed by now. However, before Sam could even voice his confusion, Rebecca spoke up. I know what you're thinking. She slightly raised her hand and gestured to him to listen. There is a reason why we are here. Oh really? There is a reason for his body to be in a museum, eh? Sam questioned mockingly. Please then, do tell. Heaving a soft sigh and rolling her eyes at the obvious mockery, Rebecca continued. You see, when Drakel died, he wished for his body to be here. Because this was the place he met his first dragon. Rebecca said and took an intentional break to let that all set in. After a second of silence, she spoke again. His body is buried here along with his first dragon. Sam was baffled at this point. After a few seconds of standing there in the middle of the museum, like a statue, he finally opened his mouth. Okay, let's just say what you're telling me is true. What does it matter anyway? Questioned Sam. I've seen you stealing abilities and reviving the dead, Rebecca replied. One of those things is something that even my father can't do. So can't you revive the dragon and take Drakel's ability? Sigh, Sam knew she would say something like this. It's true, I can do that. I can take abilities and revive the dead. But just like every other ability, there's a limit to it. Sam explained. I can only revive the dead if it's been dead for under an hour. The same goes with taking the ability. I can't do that if the target has been dead for too long. He shrugged. So, today's day has been a waste of time, huh? Well, nice meeting you, love, let's never meet again. Sam said and turned around to leave. Before he could make his dramatic exit, however, Rebecca said something that made Sam halt. How do you think Dragonhearts are the exception to the rule? As soon as he heard that, Sam stopped and turned around. What do you mean? He asked with his brows knit together in confusion. You see, Sam, abilities in this world can't be passed down. There could be no exception. Yet there are some families that have bloodline abilities. How? Don't riddle me, Rebecca. Tell me. Sam asked, losing his calm. He was certain he knew everything there is to know about abilities. He regarded the fact that some families possess bloodline abilities as an exception and nothing more. Yet, there she was. A girl standing in front of him, hinting something about abilities that he doesn't know. How? See, this is what I meant by you being impatient, said Rebecca teasingly as she casually walked away to take a look at another artifact being displayed. Sam clenched his fists to calm himself down and followed. Okay, tell me, what do you mean? Said Sam in the calmest possible tone he could muster. Ha! Never thought you would come out to be so obedient. Rebecca said with a smirk visible on her face. Well, I can't tell you how, but there is a way for anyone to pass their ability. Those words fell like a bomb on Sam. His mind instantly went into denial. It can't be. It can't be right. He questioned in his mind. There can't be a way, there's no way. Right. Am I right? She's lying. If there's a way, I must be known about it. Sam, calm down, let's listen to her first. How? After taking a deep breath to calm down, Sam inquired. As I said, I can't tell that. That reply did nothing but infuriate Sam further. He was already on the end of his rope. His patience was running thin. Sam, calm the fuck down, the voice in his mind reminded Sam to keep his cool. He had to keep his cool. There is no other choice. If it were someone who had said that, he would have squeezed the answer out of them. But it was Rebecca. So he held that thought and did what he could. He waited for her to speak further. I can't tell you that, but I can tell you this, whatever that method is, Dragonhearts are using it to preserve their family's ability. I see, said Sam with his mind clouded in thoughts. After a moment he spoke again. Okay, but, even if there's a method or some shit, what do you expect me to do? He asked with questioning eyes. It's not like knowing all that would change a thing. Oh, but it would, said Rebecca, countering Sam's statement. You see, if the ability Dragonhearts possess now is the same as Dracul's, that means they can control dragons too, just like him. But then again, even if I kill a Dragonheart and take his ability to tame dragons, there are no dragons left in today's world. Sam replied. But soon the realization hit him. Unless, Sam widened his eyes as if he understood something. Unless you make a dragon of your own. Rebecca was the one who finished Sam's sentence for him. It is very well possible. Samuel Grace fell. The possessor of the progenitor's powers can manipulate the physical form of life, biology. All he needs is to know the creature down to the cellular level, and he can manipulate his biology to his heart's content. Not only that, but he can transmute living beings too. That means he can change their biological makeup down to the genetic level. He can transform a man into a bird into a chicken, and a chicken into a long-lost species of dinosaurs. Although transmutation takes up quite a lot of his energy, it is still within the realm of possibilities for him to revive an extinct species. All he needs is the knowledge of the creature he's changing his target into and a compatible target, and voila. Why didn't I think of it? Placing a hand on his chin, Sam fell into a deep well of thoughts. A dragon at his disposal. Just the thought of that was exciting Sam. Not just one dragon either, he can create a legion of dragons. He can do what his ancestor wasn't able to accomplish. He can defeat Star Super. All he needs to do is dissect the dragon's dead body buried here, under this museum, and study it. A grin crept up on Sam's face as he thought that. Of course, a single dragon won't be enough for you to kill my father, but yeah, that's the best chance you will have. Shaking Sam out of his thoughts was the voice of Rebecca. So, do you think you can do it? Create a dragon of your own? Sam just nodded in reply. She doesn't know about the secret weapon Sam has in mind to not only defeat her father but achieve his goal, and she doesn't need to know about it either. Needless to say, we can't do it now, Sam said, looking around the museum hall. The hall was devoid of any tourists or visitors, but the security was still tight. Guards were situated throughout the entirety of the hall. Even though Sam can take them all down with just a snap, it'll alert the authorities. And that means, would be alerted too. Yes, doing something right now, on a day off at that, would be stupid, Rebecca commented. I have a plan. Before Sam could complete his sentence, Rebecca stopped him. No, you will stay low. She said. You've gained enough attention these past few days. It's honestly a miracle that you aren't caught right now. I can't risk it. If you get caught, my dream of living an ideal life with my brother will be shattered. She is right, you know, that's what I've always been telling you. Sam wanted to retort, but he knew what he was being told right. He shouldn't risk it. He should be more patient. Face-palming, he took a deep breath. How about this? Instantly an idea came to him. I strike during the biannual celebration. Holding her chin, Rebecca pondered over his suggestion for a while. True, it will indeed be a good time. As soon as he heard the reply, a wide grin crept up on Sam's face for a moment before he went back to normal. For only he knew what he was truly planning in his mind. But he had to hold his victory laugh for now. He can't laugh just yet. Great. Chapter 33. The cliché first day in the academy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In a dark room, a black-haired boy was lying on his bed. As he remembered the incidents that happened yesterday, he couldn't help but heave a sigh. Sam always thought there isn't anything in this world that would surprise him. He found this world boring. However, yesterday he found something that he never thought would be possible. I wonder how they do it, he whispered to no one in particular. I wonder how they pass down their ability. Is it the same as what my father did? Sam, why the fuck are you still stuck on that, huh? Hearing the voice in his mind, Sam couldn't help but let out another deep breath at the sheer ignorance. Because all my life I've been studying biology. Abilities are part of our biology now. Sam explained while rolling his eyes. Now if some random girl comes up and tells me that I looked past something that obvious, no shit, I will take it as a blow to my pride. He added. Okay, first, that's not some random girl you re 43 talking about. That's a Wilburn. God knows what they are and how much they know. And second, why are we still on this topic when we have something better to talk about? What's something better? Knitting his eyebrows together in confusion, Sam asked. Why do you keep forgetting? It's Monday. The start of the new week. You know what that means. As soon as he remembered the day it was today, Sam grinned with excitement. I remember now, today I'll get to meet my dear brother. Did you take everything? A black-haired woman, seemingly in her mid-30s, asked the boy who was standing by the door. Yes, of course, Mom. The boy answered in a clearly frustrated tone. This is the 8th time you are asking this question. Okay, I won't. Angie slightly raised her hands, as a soft yet warm smile appeared on her face. I'm just happy for you, the black-headed woman said with a warm smile still plastered on her face. Seeing that, the boy couldn't help but smile too. He'll be joining the Hero Academy. It's a given that his mother would be worried about him. He closed in on his mother and gave her a gentle loving hug. I'll be fine, he said. After a second of a warm hug, he continued. Besides, I can manipulate space. If I want to, I can visit you anytime. Hearing her son boast, Angie couldn't help but giggle. Yes you can. She said while softly pinching his cheeks before pulling him for a hug again. Okay, now I'll be going, said Michael while separating himself from his mother's embrace and walking up to the door. Be safe, Angie said, seeing her son walk out the door. But before he could completely step outside, she called him out again as she remembered something. And Mikey, hearing his mother call him out, Michael turned around to look at her. If you meet your brother, try to get along with him. Hearing that, a smile appeared on Michael's face. I will, Mother. As soon as he said that, he opened the door and walked outside. Open, he uttered in a low voice, and the space in front of him started to distort. Soon a deep abyssal crack appeared in the fabric of space itself. I'll be going, he said and stepped into the crack. As soon as he walked in, the crack closes in and the space returned to normal. Watching his son start his journey, Angie couldn't help but let out a worried sigh. Ag. What was that ceremony? I know, right? Welcoming ceremony. More like a torture ceremony. And the warrior class had to experience it a week before us. Yeah. I'll never be jealous of warriors again. Cries of frustration and exhaust 33 tie-in filled the academy campus as students from other classes finished attending the welcoming ceremony hosted by none other than Lightbringer. I wonder if I can meet my brother on the first day, Michael thought out loud. He has never seen his brother except in photos that his mother keeps. He has heard of him though, the son of an infamous villain, Black Knight. Black Knight was famous for his blade killings. He was a master martial artist, and when paired with a bladed weapon, he was a nightmare. Not only that, but he also possessed an A.rank electrokinesis ability. Not a very big threat if you compare it to other big villains with relatively more deadly abilities. However, what made him deadly was his technique. There weren't many who were able to stand up to Black Knight in and hand-to-hand combat, with or without the use of abilities. However, soon he was caught. It was revealed that he was living a double life and had a family. He was thrown behind the bars. A jailing facility made entirely for the purpose of locking up villains with superpowers. He soon escaped though. And when he was found, he wasn't alive. His body was found in an apartment that he owned under a different name with third-degree burns all over his body. Authorities were left puzzled. After all, there weren't many who could do that to Black Knight. An investigation ensued soon after, but the culprit was never found. The matter was soon discarded. Michael found this story very tragic. Because in the end, the only victim left remaining was the son of the Black Knight. Not only did the authorities keep him under their watch until he turned 18, but he was also made to go under several investigations. If all that wasn't enough, he is also discriminated against for being the son of a villain. Several families of Black Knight's victims want him dead or locked up. His life isn't as easygoing as Michael's. And that's the reason why Michael feels bad for his half-brother. Everything that he ever got, love, warmth, a childhood. His brother wasn't able to experience any of that. I'll make up for our lost time, brother, Michael inwardly voiced his determination while walking his way towards the class through the campus. Thud, sorry. I wasn't looking, my bad. Because he was distracted elsewhere, the black-headed boy bumped into a person. Though he instantly apologized and started to walk away. Oi! Where do you think you are going? A hand grabbed him from behind, making Michael stop on his feet. Ah fuck. Is this turning out to be like that cliché first school day episode? Michael remarked in mind before turning around with his hands slightly raised. Look good, sir, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention, so I apologize. Michael replied earnestly. Besides, a mighty man such as yourself wouldn't really want to waste your time on someone like me. Oi! Are you making fun of me, kid? The person in front of him yelled. I'm a girl. The world stopped for Michael at that moment. He eyed the person in front of him claiming to be a girl. She had a frame as big as a professional muscle builder. Towering at the height of 6 feet with muscles ripping through her uniform, yes, she was wearing a male student uniform. She had spiky short brown hair and a chiseled square face with brown rough tan skin. No one in their right mind would take her for a girl. Oi! Tell me. Are you making fun of me? Shaking him out of his state of utter shock was the voice of the girl in front of him. No, sir. I mean, ma'am, no, ma'am. Michael raised his hands more up high to surrender. I wouldn't dare. You called me sir again. You are making fun of me. The brown-haired girl yelled again. Seeing the ruckus happening in the middle of the campus ground, the crowd started appearing. Half of them hoping to see some action while the other half hesitating to stop something bad from happening. Ma'am, I don't. Shut up, boy. You dare insult me. The young mistress of the Akima clan. Soft sounds of gasps came from the crowd as the girl revealed her clan's name. Akima is one of the most famous and powerful Eastern clans. They start the training for their kids starting at the age of 5. Those who can't awaken ability become assassins. Those who can't become assassins become militants. And this girl is claiming to be the young mistress of that clan. Ma'am, listen, no, you listen, boy. I will make you pay for insulting me. A look of fury clouded over her eyes as the tone of her voice kept rising. Now, I challenge you for an ability duel. What? But an ability duel is not legal unless being supervised by an instructor. Michael blurted out while stepping back a few steps. What is happening here? A voice came from the crowd as a bald man wearing a lab coat made his way towards the source of the commotion. An instructor. I'm saved. A bright look of relief washed over Michael's face as he saw an instructor making their way to them. Are you an instructor here? Supervise this duel, said the brown-headed girl casually. Well, I certainly am an instructor here, however, I can't supervise this duel. It's still the first for you lads here and I can't. Before the bald instructor could continue, the girl cut him off. Shut up, Baldy, I'm the young mistress of the Akima clan, you really wanna infuriate me. The Akima clan. The tough act that he was putting on earlier dropped as soon as the instructor heard the name Akima. Big beads of sweat started dripping from his forehead as the bald instructor put on a smile that would put even the best of con artists to shame. Why, of course. If it's the young mistress of the Akima clan who wishes for me to supervise a duel, then it would be my honor. This bastard. He did a complete 180. Michael could only widen his eyes at the events that happened before a chilling voice called out to him. Now then, let's continue your massacre. I mean our duel. Chapter 34. First Day Duel. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Sigh, in the training field of the prestigious Hero Academy, a rather large girl was standing in front of a pale-faced boy. The girl had her arms crossed while the boy's face was devoid of any colors with visible black lines lingering over. The scene was resembling a scenario where the boy was caught stealing the girl's underwear and was now waiting for his persecution. If there truly is a God, I ask of you, save me. The boy cried in his mind, wishing for a miracle to occur and save him from this situation. I, Professor Rick Sanchez, agree to supervise this duel between Michael Wright-Will and Monica Akima. The bald professor announced. The duel will end when one side cannot continue or admit defeat. Killing blows aren't allowed, however meds are on standby, so let loose. The professor dramatically raised his hands as the silence enveloped the field. Students were gathered in the crowd around the two participants who will partake in the duel. Everyone is excited to see the outcome. Bets were being made. Although most of them were betting on the young mistress of the Akima clan, it was fairly one-sided. Can you blame them? One was the heiress of the infamous Akimas while the second was some no-name wimpy boy. Now begin. As soon as the professor dropped his hand and announced the start of the duel, the first thing that filled the training field was the sound of cheers. Monica. 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 Hearing her name being cheered, the large girl couldn't help but smirk before activating her ability. Barrier. As soon as she shouted that, a golden translucent barrier appeared around Michael and trapped him. A sentinel. He exclaimed. The sentinels are known for being defensive experts. Their abilities are made for defense. However, in some cases, they are deadly combatants too. Monica Akima was one such case. Since childhood, when she awakened her barrier ability, her family made her go through extreme training. Barrier abilities are the most common abilities. Although it's general knowledge that two abilities in this world can't be the same, they can still closely resemble each other. For example, if a barrier is golden, then no one else in this world would awaken a golden barrier ability, but they sure can awaken the same ability of different colors. Say, a blue barrier. Monica's barrier, however, was different. She can control the range and shape of her barriers to the full extent. Meaning that she can even wear her barrier like armor or even trap her opponent in them like a prison. Truly a very versatile ability. However, Michael couldn't help but smirk. Ha! Why are you laughing, you worm? Shall I crush you like a bug that you are? As soon as she finished her monologue, Monica closed her palm into a fist of her extended hand and the barrier around Michael started closing in on him. "You are strong, Monica," a grin crept up on Michael's face as he was forced to kneel because of the shrinking barrier. "But I'm the worst possible match up you could have asked for." Michael yelled in excitement, his eyes emitted a purplish glow and in an instant, he disappeared from inside the barrier. "What?" Monica widened her eyes in half confusion and half shock, gasp. Even the crowd couldn't help but gasp at the unexpected turn of events. The no-name boy they were betting against possesses a space manipulation ability. Space-related abilities are rare. Once in a decade rare. And to teleport in an instant just further shows how much control he has over his ability. Countless scenarios went through Monica's mind as she tried to calculate where the black-haired boy would appear. She also theorized that it was not a space-related ability but an optical illusion. Like invisibility. To confirm that, she completely made her barrier collapse, intending to crush the boy if he was inside. What if I really was inside? I would have died from that. A soft whisper fell into her ears to which Monica widened her eyes and gritted her teeth in frustration. Of course, he would come from behind. She rolled her eyes at herself for not being able to see through such an obvious move. But without wasting a second more, she manifested her barrier in the shape of a boxing glove around her right hand and swung it behind. Michael, who has already seen that coming, crouched and easily dodged the attack. Monica, however, didn't stop there. When her back swing punch failed, she manifested a skin-tight barrier around her body and instantly enlarged it. It was to throw Michael in some distance because he was way too close, and close range being her weakness, she couldn't let that happen. Needless to say, it worked. Like an inflating bubble, the barrier enlarged and threw Michael a few steps back, creating a distance between him and Monica. Fine then. Infuriated, Michael shouted in frustration. "Pull," he said and extended his arm forward with his open palm facing Monica. The space itself started collapsing in front of his palm. A black dot was soon formed resembling a black hole. "Ag!" he cried out, and the first-sized black hole started moving towards Monica at an incredible speed. Monica couldn't help but widen her eyes in panic. "Barrier!" she cried, alarmed in fear. Multiple layers of translucent barrier appeared between Monica and the incoming black ball of death. Bam, bam, bam. Loud hard-breaking and cracking noises reverberated throughout the field as the layers of barriers kept on breaking in front of the black ball like a brick breaking through the screens of ice. Beads of sweat appeared on Monica's forehead as she widened her eyes. It was too late to run and her barriers weren't doing shit. And the speed at which the black ball was traveling, it was clear that it would hit her before someone could even interfere to stop. Bam. When the black orb of collapsing space broke through her last line of defense, she closed her eyes and resigned to her fate. Barrier. Just when everyone thought that the demise of the brown-haired girl was certain, an authoritative voice rang throughout the field. A metallic black, almost opaque wall was created in front of Monica by the bald professor. "I'm saved," she thought. However, before she could even heave a sigh of relief. Bam! The orb broke through the professor's barrier too. "I'm fucked." She ridiculed herself at her last moments. What was she even thinking? That Baldy couldn't save her. Shit. Even Michael cursed in his mind. The only reason he activated his best move was because he was certain that at least a professor would be able to stop it. He didn't want to live the rest of his life as a murderer. Shrill. Just then a sharp shrill sound of electricity flowing was heard by everyone present at the scene. But before anyone could react, a flash bolt akin to a lightning strike appeared in the field and disappeared along with the brown-haired girl. The black hole kept on speeding through the air even after it missed its target and was about to hit a random girl present in the crowd. Kya! The girl screamed in panic and closed her eyes. However, when even after a few seconds passed and nothing happened, she opened her eyes again just to see the back of a boy with golden hair standing in front of her. "Are you okay?" Anthony asked in concern, to which the girl only mindlessly nodded. "And are you okay?" Sam asked, standing a few feet away from Anthony with the large girl in her arms like a princess. I thought I'm okay. Thank you," Monica stuttered with a flushed face. Sam nodded and placed her on her feet before turning around to face a certain black-haired boy. "Hello brother, Information available on Space Manipulation. Users can create, distort, and manipulate space, the boundless three-dimensional extent in which objects and events have relative position and direction, within an area of one's choosing, including an area and whatever is inside of that area. Most commonly, users can use this ability to teleport by depleting the space from point A to point B, simply choosing to occupy a different space, or by creating portals. High-level users would also be able to manipulate other forms of esoteric space that have properties completely different from space in the real world, allowing them to achieve a plethora of effects, some even on nigh-omnipotent levels. Barrier creation. Users can create a shield, wall, dome, bubble, or another kind of barrier or field formed from energy, elements, the environment, or by manipulating smaller items to form a greater whole. These barriers typically take on a dome/spherical or flat shape centered on or around the user and can either possess a solid, fluid, or elastic structure and surface. Force fields are capable of blocking or impeding approaching objects and nullifying attacks, including physical and energy-based attacks, or even repelling or reflecting them, as well being used as a means of containment to imprison others. Chapter 35-35. Calm before the storm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. "Hello brother, what?" His words couldn't leave his throat. "This is my brother," Michael thought. He eyed the boy that was his brother up and down. He noticed that Sam had the same black hair, which was quite rare in this time and age, as himself and his mother. He had a pair of scarlet eyes, the kind of which can only be described with the word demonic. The kind which will get you addicted to it if you keep looking at them for too long. He had a deep yet fresh voice, not the kind one would expect a singer to have, but still, you couldn't be bored listening to it all day. His stance oozed off an aura of superiority. Like he viewed the whole world as something beneath him. The academy doesn't have a uniform except for PE, so the black-haired boy was wearing casual college clothing. Black tee and blue jeans. Plain as they were, he was still looking like something out of the world. "Are you my brother?" Mustering up all the will he had, Michael formed the words to frame a question. "Half-brother, yes," Sam replied. "But for what you did here today, you should be suspended." Just as Michael was about to retort in his defense, Sam turned around and faced the bald professor. "And you, Professor Rick, you know very well that duels in the academy are prohibited unless supervised by an A-rank hero. Now tell me, when did you become an A-rank? Sensing the authoritative tone, although Rick was a professor, he couldn't help but stutter while forming a reply. "Sam is right, Professor." Walking to Sam's side, Anthony spoke. "You endangered a student because your barrier wasn't strong enough. Shall we take this to Principal Helios?" Sam said in an obviously threatening tone. We should do just that. Let's inform Lightbringer about what happened here." Taking Sam's cue, Anthony joined in. No. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. I thought my barrier would surely hold against a freshman. I never expected him to have a space-related ability. Panicked, Professor Rick practically started begging. Space-related ability, huh? Sam's ears perked up hearing the type of ability his half-brother possessed. Interesting. The voice in his head remarked. What should we do, Sam? Anthony glanced sideways at Sam and questioned with a grin. Is this guy enjoying this? Aren't you supposed to be a hero? Sam thought internally before answering. Well, since the professor here knows what he did wrong, I think we should accept his apology. Just don't do it again, Professor. I won't. I won't ever supervise a duel. Thank you for not telling Lightbringer. Grabbing Sam and Anthony's hands, Professor Rick conveyed his thanks. Anyways, I should get going now, young ones. I have a class to teach. As soon as he said his goodbyes, the bald professor disappeared like the wind. Pfft, Anthony couldn't help but let out a chain of giggles at that sight. If only Drake was here to see this, Sam commented, making Anthony laugh harder. Anyways, you all, go back to your classes or explore the campus, whatever you were doing before. The show's over. Sam announced, dispersing the crowd that was gathered. Monica looked like she wanted to approach Sam for something, but she could only hesitate before joining the crowd and leaving the scene. Hearing a voice coming from behind, Sam turned to look at a black-haired boy still standing there. Why are you still here? One duel didn't satisfy you? Sam asked. Although they were standing at the same height, Michael could clearly feel him being looked down on. No. I wanted to talk to you. I've waited to meet you all my life. Before Michael could complete his sentence, Sam's voice cut him off. Come Tony, let's go. Without waiting for an answer or a reaction, Sam turned out and started walking out to leave the fields. Anthony, clearly confused, looked at Sam's fading back once, then eyed Michael, who was trying his best to say something to his brother before he disappears. Anthony heaved a sigh before following Sam out of the fields. Is it okay? Anthony questioned as the duo walked towards their class. To treat him like that, I mean. Didn't you call him brother? Sam mentally sighed in annoyance. In truth, he didn't want to spend a second alone with Anthony. But the thing is, Rebecca is moving in with them to the dorm mansion, so Kiera volunteered to help, even though no one asked her. Sam has long given up trying to figure out what's been going on in her head. He's trying to ignore her these days. BDNVL.M. Drake and Robin went to take a detour on their way to the academy. That just left Sam alone with Anthony. Although the latter was enjoying the company so very much, Sam was not. While making their way to their first class, they saw two boys running towards the training field while babbling something about a duel. Thanks to that, the duo arrived at the right time at the scene before something bad could happen. Although Sam was not so fond of playing hero, he still decided to help since Anthony could have handled it alone anyway. So by deciding to help, he made yet another impression on Anthony. Meh, it's okay, Sam replied. Besides, it's not like I have a big brother role to play. You're the big one? Anthony questioned. He's irritating me with his constant questioning. Yes, a year after having me, my mother left my father, you know, him being a villain and all, and had him with her second husband, Sam replied casually while mentally agreeing to the voice in his head. I see. I still don't understand why your mom didn't take you with her. Anthony frowned. She tried, but when her husband asked her to choose between me or him, she obviously chose him, Sam cleared. Really? That's sad, Anthony commented. Oh, is this guy really giving us his pity? The only sadness in our life is you and your family. Yeah. Anyways, enough about me, tell me about yourself, Tony. Said Sam while changing the topic with a curious smile. Me. My life is an open book with all those interviews and documentaries, said Anthony with a dry laugh. You don't like that? All that fame, I mean. Sam asked, stopping his feet and turning around to face the flaxen-haired boy. I don't think I earned it, you know. Like it's all inheritance from my father, Anthony replied while rubbing the back of his head. Ah, I see. I guess standing up to the expectations people have of you, as you are the son of Star Super himself, is tough, huh? It is. I mean, my father doesn't force me, but still, to know that one day I have to stand in place of him, that's kinda scary. Wow, the guy who can literally endure the temperature of the sun's core is finding something scary. Sam joked. Ha ha ha. You are really funny sometimes, you know that. Anthony remarked while letting out an honest laugh. No, but really, it gets scary sometimes. The pressure, I mean. Sam nodded in reply, standing up to the expectations of your ancestors. You won't believe me when I tell you, but I do know how that feels. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, let's get going for the class before it gets late, yeah. Let's go. Anthony said before the duo started walking for the class again. What Anthony didn't notice, however, was a grin that appeared on Sam's face for a moment. His plan was working. He is getting through Anthony. Sam knew that sooner or later he will be able to break through Anthony and will unravel the mystery behind the origin of Wilburns. What Sam didn't know, however, was the fact that Anthony was thinking about investigating the murder case of Rose. Anthony, just like every other hero in the Academy City, was puzzled by the fact that a woman who can phase through things was killed by the physical damage. He asked Star Super for permission to look into the case and Arthur allowed him. What no one knew back then was that it will a reason for a bloody battle that will soon be commencing. A battle that will throw the world into something bigger and more chaotic than the Dark Ages. But that still had some time. There was a calming peace before the arrival of a deadly storm. Information available on telekinesis. The user has telekinesis, the ability to manipulate or otherwise interact with matter or another aspect of a physical system with one's mind or through other non-physical means. Telekinesis can refer to a variety of different means of affecting matter, or energy, at a range. For example, bending gravity to move objects around could be considered to grant telekinesis. Any power that allows for the distant movement of something, regardless of how far that distance is or the exact means by which it is accomplished. Chapter 36. Just a normal day. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. As you all may know, a hero's job isn't just to protect civilians. It's also to be a symbol of peace. As the female professor kept on talking, Sam slowly drifted into his own thoughts. Why do they have to start this hero monologue every time? Even I'm starting to remember it. He complained. Quit your bickering, Sam, and think about how we should torture him. You mean Michael? Yeah. He was interested in you earlier. He even has a spatial ability. Can't let it go to waste now, can we? No, you are indeed right. An ability that glorious belongs to a god. Touching his chin for a moment, Sam pondered over the situation. Although we can't kill him. Rebecca has ordered me to stay low until the half-yearly function. Oh, come on, Sam. Don't act like a puppy. Besides, you can just snatch that ability and let him live. Meh, no fun in that, he replied while clicking his tongue. Holy Lord of Hell. Fine. You're no fun. Just as Sam was about to reply, the door of the classroom slammed open. Slam. Sorry, we are late. A silver-haired girl, accompanied by a flaxen-haired girl and a blonde-haired girl, screamed her apology as soon as she opened the door. It's okay, the class was just starting, the female professor replied. Go settle down at your seats. Nodding, the trio followed the instructions and went to sit at their designated seats. Where's Drake? Anthony asked Kiera as she settled down beside him. He got a call from his family. I think he will join us at the next one. You sure he's not skipping? He could be, haha, of course, he is skipping, Robin spoke while shaking her head. That gesture made everyone laugh except Rebecca and Sam. The former didn't care much and had an aloof look plastered on her face while the latter was lost in his train of thoughts. Looking at that, Kiera went to touch Sam's hand to ask if he was doing okay. However, before she could touch him, Sam instinctively jerked her hand away. Kiera had a blank expression on her face. Even Anthony and Robin frowned at what just happened. What? Sam questioned. I was just about to ask if you were feeling well. You seemed lost in your thoughts, something happening. Kiera replied after a moment of hesitation. Yes. Nothing to concern you. Sam apathetically replied. What does that? Before Kiera could even finish what she was saying, the voice of the professor cut her off. You all at the back, keep quiet. Hearing them being called out, everyone instantly looked at the female professor to give her their attention. I didn't want to say, told you so, but told you so, not killing her was bad when you had the chance. Also, imagine me shrugging right now. Sam only rolled his eyes at that comment. If the voice in his head had a form, Sam would have snapped his neck by now, a gazillion times by now. Why are we here again? I'm telling you, this academy loves their students in the training field. Come on guys. At least practical lessons are fun. Yeah. I would prefer this over those classroom lessons any day. A few students complained among themselves as they stood in the training fields. It's supposed to be their practical class. Practical classes differ from theoretical classes, as in the former, they can test out their abilities and what they have learned. In actuality, the Hero Academy doesn't focus on combat much. How can they? When everyone has a different ability, it's hard to develop a technique and tech them. Thus, what they do here is teach strategies. How to rescue a civilian in a hostage situation. How to help the crowd in case of a full-blown battle. Strategic plans to counter and initiate an attack. Not only that, but they also teach them the correct way to appear in media and publish themselves as heroes. Things like that. The reason the warrior class was present in the training field today was to practice 1v1 duels. 1v1 duels are the core reason for the existence of the warrior class. They need to take risks in order to battle their opponents head-on. They are the strength of the hero society, thus they need to be strong and ready to fight at any given instance. However, knowing that and liking that fact are two different things. In today's world, the crime rates are relatively low and people are comparatively safer than in the Dark Ages. One of the famous research scientists, Ron Maxwell, who studied the origin and aspects of abilities, said, abilities grow stronger as the user experiences near-death situations. His theory only further proved correct as the upgrade phenomenon started happening. Although no one knows why and how upgrade happens, many people suspect that it happens when a person experiences near-death situations. However, not many heroes get to experience true near-death situations these days. It's the era of peace after all. In the era of peace, heroes have become weak. Many of them never even get the chance to explore their full power. Needless to say, that affects their offspring too. Today's top heroes couldn't even come close to the old top ones. Except for the few ones who are still alive from the last generation, like Star Super or Lightbringer. Although, when the news of the progenitor's return made it to Star Super, he immediately instructed every Hero Academy established throughout the globe to strengthen their training regime. Dovco, and that brings us to this point here. As they were ordered to partake in the dueling practice, some students were hyped, while others were not so much. Listen up. As the crowd was mumbling among themselves, a feminine voice resounded through everyone's ears. Soon everyone turned their eyes to the right end of the field where a podium was given rise to. On that podium stood a woman dressed in a lavishing, revealing scarlet suit, looking as if in her 30s with all signs of aging stopped. She had a buxom figure with light red eyes and pinkish hair. She eyed everyone before lightly smiling and opening her mouth again to speak. I hope you all have been good. Arg. Fuck. It's Karma. I hate her. As soon as Sam's eyes fell on the woman, he couldn't help but curse internally. There weren't many superheroes alive who can take that reaction out of him. No, it's very hard to make Sam lose his calm. Well, unless it's Wilburns that we're talking about. Ah, this bitch. I remember her. Yes, that bitch and Sam go way back. Karma aka the Sleeping Angel. The big sister of the superhero Nightingale. She possesses a sound ability. She can literally manipulate sound to a certain extent, which makes her an S.rank hero. Not something special. However, that's not what annoys Sam. It's not her ability, it's her luck. Yeah, although she doesn't possess a luck-related ability, her luck is exceptional. Sam has tried to kill her many times in the past, however, she always manages to escape somehow or the other. It's like the universe itself is working for her. The god's favorite. So anyway, kiddos. As you all may know, the dueling practice is to be taken seriously now. The woman in red spoke with a shrug. So that's what we will do, we will duel. I'm not the part of the warrior class, but your practical instructor is on leave, so I shall take over for him, she continued. Not only boys but even girls were listening to her kike puppies with heart-shaped eyes. She is using the same ability as Nightingale. That's also one of the reasons Sam doesn't like her. The way she uses her ability. Her ability gives her complete control over the sound to a certain extent. Out of all the cool things she could do with that, she chose to do the lamest thing possible. Mind control. Using her ability to turn sound into one's desirable tone, along with her goddess-like figure, she uses seduction as her main weapon. Needless to say, Sam dislikes those kinds. Thoughts. Sigh. I just want a normal day. Is it too much to ask? If by normal you mean bloodshed and ruthless killings, then yes. So as I was saying, because he is on a leave, I will take over for him, Karma repeated. So now then, let's get going, shall we? Information available on sound manipulation. Users can create, shape, and manipulate sound, a periodic disturbance of a medium, air, ground, water, etc., that radiates outward linearly in the form of a pressure wave. The effect of these waves upon the ear is perceived as sound. From the point of view of physics, the sound is considered to be the waves of vibratory motion themselves, whether or not they are heard by the human ear. User can mimic, intensify, hush, and distort, as well warp, strengthen, echo, speed up, and slow down sound, using it as a powerful physical force in high-speed movement. Chapter 37. Reminiscing the past and the duel begin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Are you ready? I am. And are you ready? Yes, ma'am. After confirming if both the participants were ready, Karma dramatically raised her hand before dropping it, signaling the start of the duel. Boom, whoosh. Several explosions and breaking sounds filled the training field as soon as the duel started. What if they get injured? Like really, really bad? Robin asked, her brows stuck together in worry. There are medics on standby, some of them can even bring a person back from the brink of death, Drake replied. Whoa, Drake, didn't see you there, when did you come? Acting startled, Anthony asked in a clearly teasing tone. Wow man, wow. I've been here since the start, I even said hi when I came. Drake narrowed his eyes in an, are you serious way. While the duel was going on in the middle of the field, the group was talking among themselves. Sam, however, was standing a few steps back from everyone. Alone and quiet. He was neither observing the duel nor was he interacting with the others. Seeing that, Anthony couldn't help but speak in a concerned tone. Is he okay? He asked Kiera, who was standing beside her. He expected a reply from the silver-haired girl, but she just kept standing there, lost in her thoughts. Oh God, Kiera too. Drake commented, which earned him a pinch on the cheek from Robin. Don't joke around, she said. Kiera. Seeing that the silver-haired girl wasn't replying, Anthony placed a hand on her shoulder to shake her out of her thoughts. Yes. Startled, Kiera looked at Anthony. I was asking if you know what's going on with Sam. Anthony replied. But it seems like you're not okay yourself. No, I'm fine, Kiera replied after a moment. I don't know what's going on, I'll talk to him though. Seeing all that happening from the side, Rebecca couldn't help but sigh. She could already see her plan of a happy life with her brother going down the drain. While all that was going on, Kiera went back to her thoughts again. What is wrong with him? She thought in her mind. Till recently he was like a puppy begging for my attention. These days he isn't even talking to me. In her heart, Kiera never liked Sam. When they were little, things were different. She really liked hanging out with him back then. She still remembers the day she first met him. It was when they were 8. Sam was running from his home. He was running from his father. While on the run, he got in trouble with a mafia gang. It was because he stole something from them. However, when the gang went after him, they were all annihilated. 2 of the men in that gang were ability users. 32 men in total, killed by an 8-year-old. Absurd was the only word that came to mind when the leader of the organization heard that news. Needless to say, the leader was Kiera's father. Hearing that intriguing news, he couldn't help but give in to his curiosity and went to see Sam himself. After finding him, he brought him home. That was a very out-of-character thing to do for a man who is known as the Reaper in the underworld. Marcel Nicholson, the user of an SSS rank ability, Shadow Manipulation. He made his way to the top of the underworld. From an orphan to a king. From being spit on to being worshipped. That is the story of Marcel. However, he didn't make it to the top with just his ability. No, he had something much more. Cruelness. The man was cruel enough to use any and every means necessary to reach the top. Be it using children as hostages to gain an advantage or committing mass murder to just send a message. That was the type of man Marcel was. However, for him to adopt a boy from the streets. Absurd. The most shocked were his family members. Kiera remembers people from her branch family coming to visit him just to confirm the rumors. She was still little so she didn't understand what was going on for the most part, but she was happy to finally get a friend. Her brothers and sisters were years older than her so she always felt alone. The fact that she was born to a prostitute mother didn't help either. For most of her life, she was ignored. Ignored by her brothers, sisters, and even her father. She craved recognition. She wanted to be seen. She wanted a friend. So when someone appeared in her life who saw her as a person, who didn't ignore her, she felt happy. That happiness didn't last for too long though. As she grew up she started seeing things for what they were. She noticed that her father favors him more than her. Why? Even though I have a calamity rank ability and he just has an A. rank. She used to question herself that every day. However, she soon found out the reason. The reason why Sam was favored more than her. When they were just 10, Sam was sent on a mission by Marcel. The mission was to recover an artifact from a gang that had betrayed Marcel. Although Kiera was a little jealous of Sam, she still was concerned about her. So she asked her father to let her accompany him. She was the stronger of the two after all. She could protect him. No, you will just drag him down. That was the reply she got from her father. How will I drag him down? She thought. He is the weak one. Her misconception was soon cleared when Sam recovered the artifact and demolished the group that had betrayed Marcel. A group that had 10 A. rank and 1 S. rank user. He did all that single-handedly. A 10-year-old boy with a mere A. rank ability. Although Kiera was starting to find Sam's presence irritating, even she had to admit that was an inhumane task. Even she couldn't achieve what he did with her calamity. Rank ability. Only then did she realize, she will never get the recognition she seeks until Sam is around her. Boom. A loud decisive explosion sound resonated throughout the field, shaking Kiera out of her thoughts. She took a short side glance at the black-haired boy standing behind her before returning her eyes to the middle of the field where the duel had just come to an end. A boy with murky brown hair was laying on the ground. Around him, the ground was smashed. In front of his unconscious body stood a boy of the same age with a lean figure and light orange hair. "I win," he announced with his hand raised high into a fist. "Kane Zander has won the duel," Karma announced, confirming the victory for the orange-haired boy. Soon a group of medics rushed down the field and checked on the unconscious boy laying in the middle of the crater. They took him out on a stretcher to treat him as the boy could only lightly groan in pain now and then. Those who weren't afraid of the duel before were sweating like crazy now. "This is barbaric," one of the guys spoke up. "I won't participate." "You can make me," another guy shouted in fear. Upon hearing the unreasonable cries and wailings, Karma lost her composure and yelled out. "Do you expect villains to go easy on you all?" she said before raising her voice to continue. "And you all will participate. Understand?" As soon as she raised her voice, a ringing sound penetrated everyone's ears who were present there. Most of them lost their balance and collapsed to their knees. "See, I can make you," she said with a smug look. "This is going a little overboard," Drake commented. Shush before she hears you," Robin whispered. "I can already hear you," replied Karma while rolling her eyes. A pale expression washed over Robin and Drake's faces as she said that. Not minding all that, Karma continued with a dry cough. "Ahem, anyway, next up," she said and took a short pause to check the register in her hand for the list of names before continuing. "Lucas Redwing and Anthony Wilburn." Everyone present there gasped after hearing those names. Lucas, the boy who aced the Academy's test. And Anthony, the son of the strongest superhero to ever exist. Even those who were complaining about the idea of the duels before fixated their eyes on the two boys. It was a pay-to-watch match. And they all get to watch it for free. How can someone complain about that? Hearing their names called, Anthony just heaved a sigh. He had a feeling Lucas didn't like him much when he interacted with him in the classes. Even when they were practicing their finishing moves, Lucas was competing with him. And now he has to face him. On the other hand, Lucas' eyes were glimmering. As if he was a child who got permission to play with a new toy. As the boys made their way to the middle of the field, even Sam couldn't help but get excited. "You ready?" Karma looked at Anthony to confirm. "Yes." He replied with a nod. "You ready?" Karma then looked at Lucas and asked for confirmation. However, the latter only just activated his ability to reply. A light glow of reddish-pink surrounded Lucas as his feet began leaving the ground. Slowly the boy started floating in the air. In reply to that, Anthony himself activated his ability. His eyes began glowing red as they looked like they were on fire. Seeing all that, Karma abruptly announced the start of the duel. Begin. Chapter 38. Lucas vs. Anthony. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Begin. At that moment, Lucas, who was floating a few feet above the ground, blinked out of existence and appeared right in front of Anthony. Is he going to fight him head-on? Is he stupid? Anthony would crush him in a physical fight. He was so cocky I thought he would be a little smart. Did he teleport? A few dumb questions fell into Sam's ears, making him sigh in disappointment. If these were the future heroes, then society is doomed, he thought. Sam knew fighting Anthony head-on would be Lucas' best bet, since he can't be hurt physically due to his vector control ability. As soon as Lucas appeared in front of Anthony, he threw a straight punch that broke the sound barrier in an instant. Boom. A loud blast sound occurred when Lucas' hand hit the invincible boy with his fist. Shockwaves arose, sending all the students who were present there in the field a few steps back to their feet. Is that all, Lucas? Anthony's cold voice rang through everyone's ears. I thought you said you were the strongest. Damn. Smirking, Sam remarked in his mind. Chills bro, chills. Arg. Lucas roared and pulled back his arm, intending to throw another punch. However, before he could do so, Anthony, whose eyes were still glowing due to the activation of his heat vision, shot a pair of lasers at the light red-haired boy in front of him. Lucas momentarily widened his eyes in shock. He wasn't expecting Anthony to use heat vision this early. Heat vision was one of Starboy's signature attacks. It is said that Starboy has the most powerful laser eyes in the whole world. That power, however, comes at a sacrifice, the sacrifice being his vision. During the time Anthony is using his heat vision, he would basically be blind. Lucas recovered from his shock in a nanosecond and computed the necessary calculations in his mind before redirecting the incoming pair of laser beams. As he had intended, the lasers couldn't even hit him before bending and hitting the ground like a beam of light hitting a mirror. Gasp. The crowd gasped in amazement. Some of them had expected the red-haired to fall in defeat. Even Anthony wasn't an exception to the shock that filled the arena. Although Anthony downplayed his heat vision, but he didn't expect it to do absolutely any damage. See? That's what I'm talking about. That guy has the perfect defense. Sam exclaimed in his mind. Sam had his eyes on Lucas Redwing since the day he heard of his ability. And now in this duel, Lucas was only making Sam intrigue even more. Anthony wasn't shocked for too long though, he recovered soon after. After all, being a young superhero and all, he has faced many unexpected situations, and this one isn't even life-threatening. If his superhero days have taught him anything, it was to always expect your plan to fail. So Anthony had already prepared for this scenario in the back of his mind. As soon as his heat vision failed, Anthony went ahead to use brute force. He instantly activated his super strength, and in a flash, his fist hit Lucas in the abdomen, right around his solar plexus. Anthony had planned to knock out the red-haired boy and end the fight as soon as possible. His plan, however, failed when the force he had hit Lucas with was reflected back at him. Crack. A loud cracking noise was heard throughout the field instantly after the arm that Anthony had used to punch Lucas bent in an uncomfortable position. Arg. A muffled scream escaped Anthony's mouth before he dashed a few meters back from Lucas to create some distance. Did his arm break? But how? No way, everyone present there in the training field was left speechless at the turn of events. How can a boy, who no one knew until a few days ago, not only go head-to-head with the Starboy but also break his arm? Many students, who weren't recording before, took out their phones and started taking pictures now. This was headline material. They can submit it to blogs and newspapers. A no-name boy broke Starboy's arm in a duel. Sam was no exception either. Even he took out his phone and started taking pictures. His reasoning, however, was different from others. I will make this my wallpaper, you cape-wearing fucker. I'll laugh at this for the days to come. Muahahaha. His emotions were somewhere along those lines. I thought you were invincible, Anthony, Lucas smirked, his eyes glimmering with a tint of madness. But you broke. You're not invincible. You're just like others. I don't think this guy is mentally stable either. The voice in Sam's mind remarked. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Sam replied in a isn't that obvious tone. But the question is, how come they admitted him to this prestigious academy meant for heroes? You're done, Anthony whispered while gritting his teeth. He activated his regeneration ability and healed his broken arm. Lucas only arched his eyebrows and perked his ears in mockery. What did you say? Did I by mistake break your mouth too? Although, before Lucas could continue his mockery, Anthony disappeared from sight and appeared right in front of Lucas, startling him as a result. What? Lucas widened his eyes. The display of Anthony's speed was far greater than his own. Now, sleep time. Anthony spoke and pulled back his arm to throw another punch at Lucas. Seeing that, Sam frowned. He couldn't understand why Anthony would go for the same tactic. If Anthony chooses to throw another one of his superhuman punches, Lucas would just redirect the force and hit Anthony with his own attack. Lucas' thought process was the same as Sam too. But not thinking much of it, Lucas activated his ability and did the necessary calculations again. However, before Anthony's fist was about to hit Lucas, he spoke something. Divine sight, he muttered in an inaudibly low voice. Everyone expected to witness a repeat of what happened before, but contrary to their expectations, Anthony's fist hit Lucas this time without any resistance. Thud. The force of the punch sent Lucas flying a few meters back before skidding on the ground a few times and coming to a halt. Everyone was confused, to say the least. No one understood why Lucas didn't redirect the force. But after a few seconds of dread silence, Karma came back to reality and announced the results. The winner is Anthony Wilburn. She announced. Anthony, you can go back to your place, and medics come and get this young man. She said while looking at the skinny red-haired boy lying on the ground unconscious. Why didn't he redirect the force like earlier? The voice in Sam's mind asked the same obvious question that was on everyone's mind. I don't know. I think he used it, but our star boy here nullified it, Sam replied, shaking his head slightly. Like White Walker. I don't know. He replied and looked at Rebecca, who was standing there scrolling through her holographic phone, not even bothering to look at the duels. But they are seriously getting on my nerves. Before Sam could think anything else, Karma spoke up, announcing the next participants for the duel. Next up, Kiera Viktorovna and Samuel Gracefell. Chapter 39-39. Kiera vs. Sam. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Next up, Kiera Viktorovna and Samuel Gracefell. What shook Sam out of his thoughts was the voice of the duel overseer, Karma. She had just announced his matchup against Kiera. Letting out a short sigh, Sam looked over at Anthony who was walking toward them while gripping his arm. It seemed like he was smiling. What's he smiling about? Sam questioned in his mind. Sam, come on, let's go. Shaking Sam out of her daze was the voice of Kiera. She was standing beside Sam and pulling his short sleeve while pointing at the duel area. Karma announced our names. She said, come on, let's duel. And what is she so excited about? Sam commented in his mind. Maybe she just wants to beat you, Kiki. Yeah, let's go, Sam said while nodding once before starting to walk toward the duel area. Kiera followed behind with a frown. What is going on with him? She couldn't help but question that in her mind while slightly tilting her head. Good luck, you two. Thank you, Tony. As they walked past Anthony, the flaxen-haired boy wished them good luck on their duel. To which Kiera thanked him with a flushed smile while Sam kept walking as if he didn't hear him. Those two are getting really close, damned if I care. Circling the dueling area, Sam stood at the far end and faced Kiera as she stepped into the circle. Will you win? The voice in Sam's mind asked. The question was purposefully framed that way. Even if Sam was suppressing more than almost all of his powers, the question was if he was willing to win or not. We will see. Oh, come on. Just stop her motor functions and end this pointless duel. I doubt anyone will notice. No, if she is suppressing her powers then I won't use mine either. Besides, we just saw what Anthony is capable of, I don't want to risk it. It was a sound argument. Sam had yet to know what Wilburn's eyes are about. He tried spilling it out of Rebecca but the latter was too cautious. Whenever he tries to bring up her eyes, Rebecca would just change the topic. Ready? Karma asked while raising her hand. Yes. Yeah. Rules are the same as before, Karma said before announcing the start of the duel. Start. As soon as she said that, like a savage yet clever beast, Sam infused his body in lightning and began closing the distance between him and Kiera. Shrill. What should have been 20 meters was reduced to 20 inches in just a matter of a split second. With his whole body imbued in lightning, he looked like a bright flash of the blue lightning strike rather than a person. However, before his hand could even touch Kiera, a wall of water erupted from the ground. Tisk, clicking his tongue in frustration, Sam dispersed the lightning around his body and halted his charge. At that moment, several sharpened shards of ice shot through Sam from behind the wall of water. Damn! She is not that stupid. Without replying to the comment he just heard in his head, Sam clattered his both hands in lightning and shaped it like a pair of claws, tack, tack, tack. The shards of ice constantly kept on assaulting Sam as he kept on breaking them with his lightning claws at an inhumane speed. After around 10 seconds of continuous assault, the ice shards stopped and the wall of water that was shooting upwards like a fountain fell down like a curtain. But on the other side of the curtain, there was no one. Sam narrowed his eyes with a frown. Where was Kiera? He was too busy dealing with the ice shards to have known what had happened. But the view from the audience was clear. Using the shards as a distraction and the wall of water as cover, Kiera circled around Sam and was about to strike him from behind. In her hand was a spear made of condensed ice, which was 10 times stronger than steel. Pointing the spearhead at Sam's heart, she mercilessly thrust forward without caring for the safety of her childhood friend. Karma was about to interfere and stop the duel until she noticed the expression on Sam's face. He was grinning. A type of grin that sent chills down her spine. Cling. Clang! The thrust was blocked by the lightning claw that Sam conjured as he turned around at the last second. We never fought seriously, right? I mean, we fought that other day, but you don't remember that. Sam said while gripping the ice spear. Kiera tried to jerk his hand off the spear, but her strength was not enough to shake off the black-haired boy's grip. You may think that you can win against me whenever you want, but there's a reason your father favors me over you. Kiera widened her eyes at those words. It stung her heart. Partly because that was the first time she heard Sam saying something that mean to her. And partly because what he said was true. Her father does favor him more than her. And she could never understand why. But this was not the time to think about that. Seeing that her struggle to free her spear was going in vain, Kiera gave up on it and hopped a few meters back. Tack, using both his lightning claws, Sam shattered the ice spear in his hands and glared at Kiera. Kiera didn't want to engage in close-quarter combat with Sam after witnessing that kind of reaction time from him. Long range is her best choice if she wanted to beat Sam with her limited powers. If only I could use my full powers. She thought. Unaware that even with her full powers, it wouldn't have made a difference. So you want a serious fight, Sam? Fine. Prepare yourself. Declaring that, Kiera raised her hands. As she did that, several orbs of water were created in the air around them. Those orbs of water soon started elongating before they took the shape of spears and froze into ice. The frozen spears were then aimed at the black-haired boy standing in the center. She is planning to rain down ice spears on you. Thank you, Mr. Obvious. After abruptly replying to the voice in his head sarcastically, Sam shrouded his whole body in lightning again. Stimulating his muscles and strengthening them with electricity to achieve inhumane speed like a bolt of lightning, that's the move he named. Godspeed. With his eyes glimmering in scarlet hue, Sam glared at Kiera like a predator. Oh, I'm prepared. Bring it on. Chapter 40. Kiera vs. Sam. 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. She is planning to rain down ice spears on you. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Obvious. As soon as Sam replied, the voice in his head underneath his breath, the ice spears that Kiera was preparing started falling down on him. With his muscles augmented and stimulated with lightning, Sam had no problem with dodging the barrage of ice spears. He was running throughout the duel area, looking like Flash while avoiding the spears. Kiera wasn't able to follow him with her naked eyes. She wanted to use her ability to morph her eyes into that of a serpent's, but she had her pride. If she had to use her real ability against Sam, then it was already her loss. Hence she kept attacking Sam without using her real ability. However, she failed to notice that Sam was not only dodging her ice spears but he was also closing in on her. Ha! When she finally noticed, Sam had closed a majority of distance between them and was only a few steps away. Before the poor girl could even react, Sam closed in on her and grabbed the ice spear that was about to fall on him from the air and impaled her leg in one single thrust, swoosh. However, Sam didn't feel like she was piercing through flesh. And no one in this world could be more familiar with that feeling than him. Shocked, he looked up to see the silver-haired girl and found her smiling. Wait, is she really a masochist? Ignoring the useless remark in his head, Sam pulled back the ice spear in his hand, and soon as he did that, Kiera's body turned into a water doll before disfiguring like water and falling on the ground, wetting it. What in the world? Sam frowned before questioning out loud, when did she learn that? As if waiting for that cue, several water dolls emerged from the ground before turning identical to Kiera and rushing Sam from all sides. Tisk, Sam couldn't help but click his tongue in annoyance. Fine. He shouted before imbuing his body in lightning once again. Bio-electricity manipulation is different from general electricity manipulation in two ways. First, it is literally manipulating your own body's electricity. Second, unlike general electricity manipulation that uses one's mental energy, bio-electricity manipulation drains the user's physical energy. So Sam was almost at his limit by now. And Kiera knew that. That's the reason she was dragging the fight by making him fight her water clones. Sam, however, knew what she was planning to do. He knew Kiera had to be among one of these water clones. And that's why he started slashing them with his lightning claw, fwoosh, fwoosh, fwoosh. One after another, water clones after water clones, Sam kept slashing them all with his insane speed. There were at least 20 of them when at the start, but by the end there were barely 5 left. However, 5 water clones was all Kiera needed to deal her finishing blow. As soon as Sam slashed another one of her water clones, the clone transformed into water. But instead of disappearing like others, the water wrapped itself around Sam's leg like it had a mind of its own and turned into ice. As a result, Sam's right leg was frozen to the ground. Neat. The voice remarked in Sam's thoughts. Another one of the clones jumped at Sam in the next moment and Sam cut it down too. And just like before, the clone turned into water, wrapped itself around Sam's left leg like a snake, and froze into ice. Well fuck, Sam commented as his legs were left immobile. He couldn't move from his place now. Sam tried to break it with his claw, but before he could even attempt to do that, the remaining 2 clones jumped at him simultaneously. To which Sam clicked his tongue and swung his arm, intending to cut them both with one slash. However, before Sam could even touch them, the clones exploded by themselves in the mid-air and turned into mist. The mist covered Sam and blocked his vision as a result. She is not as stupid as she looks, Kiera, who was outside the mist, conjured an ice spear in her hand and quickly rushed inside the white mist. She went from the backside, intending to finish the black-haired boy from behind. She could have just thrown the spear, but she wanted to finish him off with her own hands. She wanted to win. She felt like she had something to prove, not only to him but to herself too, especially after what he said. Gripping the white spear made of ice in her hands tighter, she rushed inside till Sam's back was visible. However, she didn't come unprepared. She had already sent a water clone beforehand in front of Sam too. Sam, who was standing in the center of 2 incoming attacks, only let out a deep breath. In front of him was a silver-haired girl rushing toward him. And on his back too there was a silver-haired girl rushing toward him. He knew only one of them was real. It was either the front one or the back one. He was stuck to the ground as his legs were frozen, so it was not like he could counter them both with his speed. At this point, when his speed was rendered useless, he had to make a choice. To swing to his front or to swing his claw to his back. Hi-ya! Hi-ya! The silver-haired girls let out their battle cry, and both of them were just a meter close from Sam. In the next moment, both of them thrust their spear at the black-haired boy simultaneously. It was a gamble, and Sam took it. He twisted his upper body to his back and grabbed the incoming spear thrust with his left hand from behind. The spear from front impaled his right shoulder blade. Aha! A muffled scream escaped Sam's mouth as he pulled back the spear that he was grabbing. Kiera tried to resist the pull, but her strength wasn't nearly enough. She let go of the spear, but it was already too late. Her body was out of balance and she stumbled forward, and as soon as she was in the striking range, it was over for her. Sam swung his hand at her as she tried to conjure an armor made of ice to protect herself. But she was too slow and Sam's swing was too fast. Swoosh. Arg. A scream escaped Kiera's lips as she felt electricity running through her body before she fell back on the ground and lost consciousness. Sam didn't wound her, he didn't have to. The claw barely touched her, but that was enough. As soon as he made contact, he electrocuted her with 440 volts of current, and that was more than enough to put her out. As soon as Kiera fell, the most cleared. And the students who were watching the battle with anticipation couldn't help but widen their eyes at the result. Sam was standing tall with only his right shoulder bleeding while Kiera was down on the ground. Even Karma couldn't help but gape her mouth at the sight. No one expected Sam to come out victorious through that mist. And because they didn't see what had happened inside the mist, they were even more dumbfounded. After a few seconds passed in silence, Sam spoke up. Mississippi Karma, my legs are frozen. He said while looking at her with "Aren't you gonna do something about it" eyes. Ah. Yes, medics. She called, and a few men in white uniform quickly rushed into the field. One of them unfroze Sam's leg, while the other took him to the medical room to get his shoulder treated. Kiera left on a stretcher. Mississippi Karma, aren't you gonna announce the result? One of the students from the crowd shouted. Ah, yes. The winner of the duel is Samuel Gracefell. Karma announced. How did he manage to do that? Drake questioned out loud while touching his chin. It seemed like he wasn't the only one wondering that. Everyone in the crowd was wondering how a potential A rank defeated a potential S rank hero. Yes, Kiera was at a disadvantage due to her ability's nature, but how did Sam manage to cover a gap so wide between them? Yeah. I want to see what happened inside that mist. Robin nodded. While all that muttering was going on, Anthony was quietly standing there lost in his thoughts. Seemed like he was trying to remember something that, for some reason, he couldn't. Next duel. Liz Fireforged vs. Rebecca Wilburn. What shook Anthony out of his daze was the voice of Karma announcing the next candidates for the duel. Although, when Anthony heard the name of her opponent, he instantly knew who was going to win that duel. Rebecca quietly put down her phone in her pocket and approached the dueling area, which was now as good as new. Everyone knew what the result would be, but they still took out their phones to record the fight. They were half expecting it to turn into a show like how Anthony vs. Lucas turned out to be.